Hello and welcome back to Casual Gardening with Dustin. It's been a couple of weeks. I believe last time I saw you we were harvesting carrots, and well, today you can see my tomatoes have gotten a little bit taller. I'm just going to go over what's been going on for the past couple of weeks. The main reason I haven't made any videos for 2 weeks is because I've had fiber optics cables being installed in my neighborhood, and it's a very long, loud process with a kind of a throbbing sound to it. And so you can probably hear my air conditioner right now, and it's a little bit annoying. And the airplanes, because I'm right in my airport's flight path, are super annoying and can sometimes even drown me out. The fiber optics installation was louder than that, and it's been going from about 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. So we've just been on hiatus. So I'm just going to grab the camera and carry you around and show you what's going on. But let's start with the tomatoes. So right here I have Florentino tomatoes. They are an earlier fruiting heirloom type tomato that I am just trying out for the first time this year, and I've been pretty happy with the quality and quantity of fruit that I'm seeing on them so far. Looks like my plants are already about 3 feet tall, coming up on the end of June, which means that I feel like I'm ahead of schedule because I'm going to be getting most of my growth between July and August. So in spite of the crazy fluctuations in temperature, which is why we harvested carrots a couple weeks ago, we're looking at some happy and healthy tomatoes. Here you can see, sitting in front of my gorgeous Merlot lettuce, which apparently retains its color all the way going through flower. You can see my eggplant, and I don't know if you can see the lone flower that it's already setting, so it looks like I may be starting to get some eggplant pretty soon. Let's talk about my potatoes. You can kind of see that there's some yellow and some leaf shedding going on. I've got at least a month left before I can expect these to be mature. So it's quite possible there's a culture problem going on. They're being over or underwatered or perhaps under fertilized, although I'm not sure how that would happen because I've got so much compost in this mix. But I'm going to add some compost and hill them up for a second time and see if that helps solve the problem. Over here on my ground cherries that I'm very excited about, you can see, it's hard for me to tell in this light. Yeah, I think you can see my little ground cherries maturing in here, and it looks like I've got enough growth now that there are more undamaged leaves than damaged leaves from the hail, so that's excellent. Over here I've been harvesting my kohlrabi, and you're starting to see the pepper plants peek through. So perhaps in the future I'm going to try to interplant my peppers with something that stays a little bit shorter. Here are the final dregs of my peas. I'd estimate they are between 4 and 5 feet tall, which is excellent pea growth for my climate. I'm actually really impressed with them. I'm not sure how many more peas I'm going to get because the weather's getting hot and the peas are probably going to start getting bitter. Underneath them you can see that I finally got past the leaf miner issue with my spinach. I'm still seeing a few leaves with leaf miner damage, but it's only a minor problem now. And here you see the loofah gourd is making progress up the structure that I built for it. So it's got a little bit of a ways to go, but I expect it'll get there. And it grabbed on here. I need to train it back up in the direction that I intended. So in a week or two, I'm going to be refurbishing my strawberry plots. And that's something I want to take you along for, because I didn't know about refurbishing, and it's kind of a big deal. It helps keep your strawberries healthy and fruiting in abundance. And so we should talk about that in a week or two. Here is, in this bed, I had it full of lettuce. All of the lettuce is bolted. And you can see my cucumbers and summer squash just starting to take off with the warmer weather. In this bed, here's a really great demonstration of why lettuce is a better companion for pepper plants than kohlrabi is. Because they've just been exposed to more light sooner. But you see I've got more Merlot lettuce in here. I'm letting it go to seed because it is absolutely gorgeous. I might grow it in my front ornamental garden next year in addition to growing it in my vegetable garden, because it is so pretty. Let's take you over. I'm concerned about my asparagus bed, not just because perhaps you can see the bindweed coming up here, but also because I've had very poor emergence, so hopefully it's just a first year thing. My bush beans are beginning to flower, and so soon I'll be getting bush beans, which is very exciting. And here you see some variable success with squash so far. Like that one is in terrible shape. I've had a lot of pest issues this year. I think with not just the slugs and snails, but also with earwigs. So about a week ago, I went through and sprayed everything with 7, which is kind of a non-specific herbicide that I would rather not have used. And hopefully we're going to see some better growth now. Here you see my newest corn plants just starting to look corny. And here's the ones I planted about 3 weeks before. Really starting to take off. I don't know if you saw that. That's a time-lapse camera that hopefully is going to take some time-lapse footage of my garden growing, which is very exciting. So here is back to where I was sitting, and behind where I was you can see these young lettuce plants. I had terrible luck with these. I forgot about them, I forgot to water them, and most of them died. But I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them that might survive. I miss my incredible salads. Perhaps you saw the marigolds just kind of planted in with my other plants in my garden. I'm not a believer in companion planting, but I do believe that you should plant flowers in or near your crops so that you can attract pollinators and predatory insects. I don't know what this plant is. It volunteered. What we're looking at right now is basically my wildflower garden, and some of what's in here has just grown wild without being invited. So I'm very excited to see what these flowers look like when they open. Yeah, I've also got some volunteer sunflowers right here. I've left 2 of them to flower and fruit because the finches love them so much. And then nestled in here, this is a bee plant flower. Now the bee plants are what this bed is all about. And these things, so starting in mid-June and going until the very end of September, these are going to be putting out blossoms and setting seed and just being everything you could want in a pollinator attracting bloom. So it's really cool. Can you see the bee? I think we've gone out of focus. It is really cool to have something in my garden area that is so attractive and really such a carefree thing. If you have a native wildflower that goes crazy the way these bee plants go crazy, growing in your part of the world, plant that. Plant that, well, fairly close to your garden, so that you can enjoy the benefits of rampant pollinators. Oh, that yellow columbine is also a Utah native. That pretty much wraps up just kind of a walk around the garden to see what's up. Well, it's an interesting time. This is a transition time. Most of my spring crops have finished. My beets and kohlrabi are wrapping up. In fact, kohlrabi is getting pretty woody towards the end of June, and I might end up pulling things out whether or not it's finished maturing. The summer crops are taking off, those that aren't severely pest damaged, and the spring crops are just kind of in a retreat for the season. So it's a lot of fun just to watch that cycle progress. And because I've practiced a lot of interplanting this year, I'm getting to enjoy abundant plants throughout the garden. Hopefully they'll have that all year long, as opposed to last year when this time was fairly sparse because I was focused primarily on the summer crops and I hadn't tried in very much with the spring, and in a couple weeks I'm going to start planting for the fall. So this succession planting through the year, looking at various times to harvest and taking advantage of gaps that open up in my garden, I feel like has been a lot more satisfying as a gardener. Also, having all this extra time to fart around in my garden thanks to well, the pandemic, I think that's really added to it. That's been the garden. If you have any questions about anything you saw, please feel free to leave a comment. And well, I've got so few subscribers so far that unless I become wildly successful and a year or two from now you're leaving a comment, don't worry, I will see it. I get 1 or 2 comments per video. Alright, well, this has been Casual Gardening with Dustin, and I hope your garden grows well.